1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see. Are we working here? Status Coup in the house. Are we working live? Jordan Sheridan. Let's see if we're working. Was having a tech issue. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. I think we're working. Hopefully there's no issues. Let me just wait a minute or two. Get the audience up a little bit. Press that share button if you can. Press that like button. It's the thumbs up button right into the video. You know what to do. It helps a lot. We had a huge audience last night. And hopefully a big audience tonight as well. For some reason I was having a tech issue, so I had to reboot. But I think everything is working right now. What do you think? The media has been going on and on for 2 days. And now Elizabeth Warren has elongated, made the scandal a little bit longer. So we're going to talk about all of it today. I just want to give the audience just a minute to come back in. So until that day, until that moment when we get a few more people in, let me answer your questions, comments, concerns here in the Super Chat. Smash that like button in the house. There he is. All good. We can hear you, Jordan. Love it. Love it. Love it. Warren is I see a snake sign. La da 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 da. YouTube affected Ron Placone as well today. If only you all knew the conversations that Jen and I have had to have, well, mostly Jen, over the last few days with Twitter, Facebook. It's unbelievable the lengths you have to go not to be suppressed and to even have ads approved to advertise. It's really, really startling. Really, really startling. So let me retweet on Status Coup. Okay. We'll have, once we get to 100 viewers, I'll start the program. I got notified by YouTube this time, Jordan. Wonderful. What a wonderful thing for YouTube to actually tell you when the channels you subscribe to are live. If only they could do that every time, right? We got 80 people watching right now. 40 of you have pressed that like button. Can we get everybody to press that thumbs up button? Makes a big difference. Are people really mad about a snake emoji? A snake is a snake. Don't be a snake. Oh, God. The identity politics police are out in full force. Full force. The Hillary Clinton identity squad is out. They were in hibernation, and now they are out and roaring like a grizzly bear. So I'm not the emoji police. You make whatever emoji you want, as far as I'm concerned. Dr. R, you are also getting ads. Interesting that we're also getting ads because YouTube is demonetizing every video we do. So I'm very much going to try not to curse today because they're demonetizing just about every single video we do. Okay, so obviously we had the debate last night. I came live after the debate, but there's been a lot of news after my live stream last night, so we're going to get to all of that. Obviously, the impeachment articles were passed to the Senate today, or they are being passed to the Senate, so that is going to complicate the Democratic primary, so we're going to get to that. Thank you. I don't know. You guess it. $2. I tried to open burners to Warren. I feel betrayed. A lot of people feel betrayed, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. So we're going to get to all of it. I need all of you watching right now. We got 110 people watching right now. If you could be so kind, please press the thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press that thumbs up button, the more people that will see the live stream. Really, really appreciate it. Also consider joining our text list. All you got to do, text 474747 and enter Coup, C-O-U-P. That's text 474747 and enter Coup, and you'll join our text list. Helps us alert you when we're live because YouTube is not notifying people when we're live most of the time. Follow us at Status Coup on Twitter. We're live on Periscope there. Follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Status Coup, and join our email list. That's statuscoup.com. Enter your email when you go to statuscoup.com. And I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later. We are right on the precipice of 800 members. 800 members, right on the precipice of 800 members. So for those of you who have been on the fence, hopefully the reporting you are seeing from us over the last few days will make you sign on the bottom line. It makes a huge difference as we grow our membership to help us fund in the field reporting. So I'll push it a little bit later. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. You can become a member for as low as $5 a month. We are 4 members from 800, so let's get it done today. Thank you, Arlene Chambers. $10 in the super chat with the awesome sticker. And this is a super chat. So if you're feeling super, let us know. So, I think Bernie Sanders' campaign is rightly pivoting off of the, what do you call it? This isn't even backstabbing. Elizabeth Warren stabbed Bernie in the front. Putting aside, let's put aside the fact that whether you believe that Bernie Sanders said this or you don't. I don't believe that Bernie Sanders said this for the same reasons I've already explained. But let's put that aside for a second, okay? So, this was a private conversation that was held over a year ago, right? The New York Times reported on the private conversation right after it happened. I would think their reporting was informed by advisors to Elizabeth Warren and advisors to Bernie Sanders. Nobody in Elizabeth Warren's world at that time said anything to the New York Times about a comment that Bernie Sanders made, either explicitly claiming or indirectly suggesting that a woman could not win the presidency. Then, as Elizabeth Warren is free-falling, if you missed it last night, the numbers are the number. 22% in the beginning of October in Iowa. Most recent Monmouth poll, 15%. It's a big drop. New Hampshire, 32%. Beginning of October, down to 18%. Recent Boston Herald poll in New Hampshire. Nevada, 21%. Beginning of November, down to 11% now. She has been free-falling, and based on her political instincts or the Hillary Clinton people that she has stuffed her campaign with. She has a lot of former advisors and campaign officials with the Hillary Clinton campaign that are advising her and staffing her. Welcome, new Status Coup member Franklin. We are now at 797 members. Franklin getting us started as a new member. Thank you, Franklin. And Jen's working on a story, so it's me reporting and doing the super chat. So forgive me if I miss anything. But statuscoup.com/join. We're now at 797 members. Can we get to 3 more while I'm still on this topic? Oh, I'd love to get to 800. So you could, again, become a member for $5 a month. There's other levels too, but you could become a member for as low as $5 a month. So obviously, what I've been saying since this story came out, obviously Elizabeth Warren's campaign is desperate, and obviously they leaked her version of the private conversation they had, which is totally disrespecting Bernie Sanders, totally breaching, your friendship, the fact that Bernie Sanders has fought politically for you your entire political career. He fought to get Barack Obama to appoint you as the head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He endorsed you in your Senate run. He has defended you on the Senate floor when Mitch McConnell silenced you. Bernie Sanders has been an ally for Elizabeth Warren. And to me, this is Bernie Sanders' biggest weakness as a politician. He's too trusting and he's too nice. Old Gringo, $2 in the super chat. Thank you very much. So it was obviously planted by Elizabeth Warren's campaign. And when a story is planted by 4 people from the same campaign, there's no way to verify that it's true. So you're not actually reporting something that is factually verified, because you can't factually verify something that's all one-sided. You could spin it off and say Elizabeth Warren claims this was said, but you can't report something as fact that is innuendo. It could have been the way Bernie Sanders could have said X, and Elizabeth Warren might have interpreted it as Y, right? So, shockingly, even though CNN pushed this as a breaking news report, meaning the story was reported out, which usually means I have confirmed it, and there is a way to actually confirm it. Thank you, Franklin, $10 in the super chat. Hey, Jordan, I've been watching you since you first started at TYT. You are a godsend to the wilderness we call journalism. I finally have cash flow to support you. Status Coup all day, Bernie 2020. God bless you, Franklin. Thanks for sticking with me from TYT days to the Coup Day Cavalry. We really appreciate it, and I love to see those comments because we always, I always say, listen, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. We don't want you to sell plasma to become a Status Coup member. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But if you end up getting $5 a month or $10 a month or whatever fits your budget, it makes a big difference. And frankly, right now, I'm trying to get funding from larger sources. So the higher our member numbers go, the more attractive Status Coup is to those entities. Promise you, those entities are not banks. They're not big Democratic Party donors. They're not big Republican Party donors. They're not big fossil fuel douches. They're not big banks, big fossil fuel, big pharma, real estate, Silicon Valley. We will be transparent, but we got to get the funding first. So what's amazing to me, this was clearly planted. Elizabeth Warren, frankly, and I saw some theories on Twitter. Kyle Kalinske over at Secular Talk said she must have made a deal with Biden. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's not true. But you got Hillary Clinton's people are staffing Elizabeth Warren's campaign. They couldn't challenge Bernie on policy last time around, so they shielded themselves with a sexism cloak. And it seems like Elizabeth Warren, in desperation, thinking, I'll pick off some of Bernie's supporters, probably female supporters, and maybe if I fight and I stir up this sexism stuff, maybe I could pick off some of the Pete supporters that I've lost to Pete. That's the only thing that makes sense. So it was amazing. Before the debate, CNN's own anchor confirmed that this was not an actual news report, that is fact. I don't often credit Erin Burnett. I don't often credit CNN, but she accidentally told the truth. Let's take a look.
Warren had no problem with this story yesterday. It was clearly leaked by her team to CNN. It came out more than a year after the meeting. It came out on the eve of a debate. This is pretty clear. She knew about this. She sanctioned it. Everything around it indicates that. Why is she pumping the brakes now, indicating don't want to talk about this anymore? We're all cool.
So, I mean, right there, and remember, folks, we got 270 people watching. 140 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get over 100 more of you to press the thumbs up button? It's right under the video. The more people that press that thumbs up button, the more people that will see this live stream. That's how it works on YouTube. I don't like it, but that's the deal. So please, please, please smash that like button. Even if you don't like me, just fake it. It's fine. I'll take your fake likes. Thank you, Rob R. Down 99. You think EW stunt was a career ender? I do. And I said that last night, and I'll explain it again in a minute. So right there, you have Erin Burnett stating the obvious. Elizabeth Warren's campaign leaked this to CNN. She was totally fine with it when she leaked it. Had no problem with talking about it then when she leaked it to CNN. CNN, my network, then just regurgitated what Elizabeth Warren's advisors, and frankly, probably Elizabeth Warren herself, leaked to CNN. And then she turns around and is like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to attack Bernie. It would be like me, it would be like Trump bombing Iran and then saying, I really want to make peace with Iran. I mean, I'm not saying what Elizabeth Warren did is equivalent to war with Iran, but you get my point. Thank you, Larry the Truth. Once a Republican, always a Republican. $2 in the super chat. So, it's just unbelievable. CNN's own anchor is saying this isn't a news story. This isn't a fact. This is something Elizabeth Warren's campaign planted. And stunningly, you saw the clip. Bernie Sanders just says, no, I didn't say it. Go look at what I've been saying for the last 30 years. And this journalist, if you want to call her that, says, Senator Warren, what do you think of Bernie Sanders saying a woman can't win? I mean, this is beyond propaganda. This is beyond propaganda. This is essentially state-run media for Elizabeth Warren's campaign. Jameson Doan, $2. So wait, it's confirmed now that EW was behind it? I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what confirmed means. Obviously, Bernie Sanders' campaign advisors didn't leak to CNN that the details of their private conversation. Elizabeth Warren's campaign leaked it. Any journalist worth their salt, including the one who reported it, knows it came from Warren's people. And Aaron Burnett just said, yeah, they leaked it. Of course they leaked it. Who else was going to leak it? I mean, this is not rocket science, folks. So, it's just stunning. And then, after Elizabeth Warren leaks this, and then fakes outrage that she's asked about it, then you have the New York Times, quote unquote, confirming it. How is the New York Times and other news outlets confirming a story that only had two people in the room? How do you confirm that? The New York Times confirmed Elizabeth Warren's advisor's version of what was said. This is how manufacturing consent works. A BS tale. And again, to me, it's very possible Bernie Sanders said to her, are you prepared? Donald Trump is going to use the kitchen sink against you. He's going to weaponize sexism against you. And Elizabeth Warren took that as this man telling me a woman can't beat Donald Trump. Very possible that's how she interpreted it. But as I said last night, there's a difference between me calling you fat and my girlfriend asking, how do you think I look in this? And me saying, I don't know if it fits. She might interpret that as me saying, you're fat. And maybe I just meant, I don't think it fits you. It's too big. It's too small, whatever. There's misinterpretations in conversations all the time. But if Elizabeth Warren felt this offended, felt that this was a sexist comment, why did she wait over a year to share it? When she could have shared it with the New York Times right then and there after the meeting. Jameson Doan, $5 in the super chat. I asked because I arrived late to the stream. I 100% agree with you. Always have. I was just confirming that CNN admitted it publicly. Yes, CNN's anchor right there said, obviously Elizabeth Warren's campaign leaked it. So you have then the New York Times pushing this nonsense of, we confirmed it. You didn't confirm anything. You just spoke with the same exact Warren advisors that fed this to CNN, and you confirmed the same thing that they told CNN. I mean, it's ridiculous. And don't think, by the way, that the DNC is not involved in this either. If you look at Status Quo's Twitter at the top, follow us at Status Quo. And if you look at the video we did yesterday here, literally the DNC has a senior advisor to Tom Perez going on Jake Tapper's show, trashing Bernie Sanders and trashing the misogynist, sexist Bernie bros. This is the DNC, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, and Barack Obama's people have their fingerprints on this too. And why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Well, does it have anything to do with Bernie Sanders' crazy momentum right now? Another endorsement. National Immigrant Rights Group endorses Sanders. Make the Road Action, an immigration rights group, is endorsing Bernie for president. The 10-year-old organization, which mobilizes immigrants and minority communities for political action in Connecticut, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, has not previously endorsed a presidential candidate. This on top of the New Hampshire chapter of SEIU endorsing Bernie Sanders, going against, by the way, its own national union, who isn't endorsing. Then you have, and this is going to bother a lot of the Biden people who are claiming Biden's more electable, new Florida poll, Florida Atlantic University, Bernie up 6 against Trump. Up 6. That is well past the margin of error in that poll. Biden up 2, margin of error. Warren up 2, margin of error. Mayor CIA, tied. But he's not electable, damn it. But he's not electable. Welcome, new Status Quo member, Lance. We are now at 798. 798 Status Quo members. Wow, we're almost at 800 Status Coup members. Who's going to put us over the top? Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. Join the media revolution. Join the media revolution for as low as $5 a month. And please look at the other videos on this channel. Are any other news outlets going around the country? Are they reporting and investigating in the trenches in South Bend? Do you have other independent outlets in in Iowa going rally to rally, interviewing Bernie supporters, challenging Biden supporters, challenging Warren supporters? Marcus is in the field for us in Iowa. It's not cheap, folks. That's why we're trying to grow this from the bottom up. I'm not trying to steal from Bernie. We're trying to grow the media revolution from the bottom up. Statuscoup.com/join. Or, because there are other outlets that tell you, sign up, $10 a month, we'll give you X, Y, and Z, and then you get 24/7 Trump, Russia, and other BS. We give you something different called actual in-the-field reporting. What a concept. Reporting in the field. What a concept. That's where we've been, and we're about to add a lot more microphones to that map. So, Elizabeth Warren, it's truly unbelievable to me. Elizabeth Warren, I mean, if you want to call me sexist, call me sexist. Tried her best mean girl interpretation. She stabbed Bernie Sanders not in the back, but in the front. Then on stage pretended to be outraged that she even had to talk about it. Then after the debate, has the gall, as Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, if I was Bernie Sanders, and I'm sick of Bernie being so nice, has the gall. Bernie goes up to her to shake her hand. She has the gall to get in his face, not shake his hand, and continue on. Oh, by the way, not only did she plant the original story with CNN, then her campaign goes on to plant what was said between Bernie and her on stage, which everyone was going crazy about, after the fact to the New York Times. People familiar with the exchange. Gee, I wonder who is the people familiar with the exchange. Said Miss Warren walked over and told Mr. Sanders that she was concerned that during the debate, he had mischaracterized a conversation they had in 2018 about whether a woman could win the presidency. She had accused him of saying that a woman could not. He has denied the remark. Appearing frustrated, Mr. Sanders asked to discuss the matter at a different time, said the people, who insisted on anonymity to discuss a sensitive private conversation. He pointed his finger towards her, then back at himself before turning and walking away. Gee, I really wonder. I truly wonder, just who are these fine folks familiar with the matter? Who are these fine folks familiar with the matter? I'm dying to know. Welcome, we just got another Status Coup member. Welcome, Shay. Holy cow, we're one member away from 800. We're now at 799 Status Coup members. Do you believe in miracles? Wow, thank you, Shay. Welcome to the Media Revolution. One more member to 800. Join the Media Revolution. So, I truly, it pains me to have to play a clip from Morning Joe that is crediting Morning Joe, but when they're right, they're right. And I have to credit Joe Scarborough and Mika Scarborough, his wife, who are usually really out of touch, establishment, cocktail crowd, losers. But on this, they kind of stated the obvious. Let's take a look.
In 2015, I deferred, in fact, to Senator Warren. There was a movement to draft Senator Warren to run for president. And you know what? I stayed back. Senator Warren decided not to run, and I did run afterwards. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million votes. How could anybody in a million years not believe that a woman could become president of the United States?
So, Senator Sanders, Senator Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I disagreed. Bernie is my friend, and I am not here to try to fight with Bernie. But look, this question about whether or not a woman can be president has been raised, and it's time for us to attack it head on. And I think the best way to talk about who can win is by looking at people's winning record. So, can a woman beat Donald Trump? Look at the men on this stage. Collectively, they have lost 10 elections. The only people on this stage who have won every single election that they've been in are the women, Amy and me.
I am completely confused as to why it turned from Bernie Sanders saying I didn't say it to Elizabeth Warren being asked, what did you think when he said it? He says he didn't say it. So you turn to Elizabeth Warren and say, did he say it?
Right.
Bizarre.
That's the issue.
That was bizarre.
I mean, it's bizarre.
It was.
What the heck happened there? Are they listening? Because you got to listen when you do a debate.
Yeah.
And then take the question to the next candidate.
You just missed.
It was a miss, yeah.
You were waiting to go.
But
Did
this
he
is
say
the
it?
story.
It was a miss.
It was
And it's
just a mess.
also painful to watch these candidates argue about this, Karine Jean-Pierre. These Democrats are supposed to look like they can take on Trump, and they're bickering about a conversation that happened at a private event. By the way, I've had conversations, private conversations, taken to the press and totally manipulated for the benefit of the person who was sharing the story. This happens all the time. It's clear there's a misunderstanding, or Elizabeth Warren is focused on something that was said. And Bernie Sanders is not going to be someone who says, I don't think a woman could win. That's just stupid.
Right. It would not be smart.
Especially after 2016. You just wouldn't say that.
Also, Bernie went to her in 2015 and said, hey, I think you can win. I think you should run for president.
This is a terrible issue to bring up.
This is such small ball.
It is, and we have to remember the Democratic base doesn't want to see this. They want to know, how are you going to beat Donald Trump? That's what they want to see. But I have to say, I think both of them tried very hard to de-escalate. They didn't want to continue the fight. And I do have to say that Elizabeth Warren did a really smart job with broadening it and talking about the kind of the underlying, what's been on the surface. Can a woman win the presidency? Which she can, but something that's been there since 2016.
But this is not about that. This is about beating Trump, and their eye is way off the ball.
I agree.
And by the way, there are several women on the debate stage. There are many women who ran for president this time around. We're in a different place now. Let's stop complaining and get to work.
By the way, John Heilman, there are moments in debates where people pick.
We have an announcement. We have an announcement to make. We are now over 800 Status Coup members. Welcome, Yazin. Welcome, Tino. We are now at 801 Status Coup members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The more members we grow at even $5 a month, we have $5 a month, we have $10 a month, we have $20 a month, or $179 annually, the more we grow through our small dollar membership engine, the more we could travel in the field so I don't have to come live from my lavish studio every day. Trust me, I'd rather be out across the country reporting on things the corporate media is ignoring. So keep it coming. Statuscoup.com/join. We're not done yet. We got to get to 1,000. We got to get to 1,000. Jordan, why are your clothes still on? Hey, let's not get crazy. Boy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep it coming, folks. We're not done. Keep signing up. Statuscoup.com/join. And I apologize, there's some buffering issues. I don't know why. I have the Ethernet in, and everything seems right, so maybe it's YouTube throttling me again. But I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully you can hear me, and apologies if it's buffering a little bit. So what's incredible to me is even Morning Joe is seeing the stupidity in this. And I'm sorry to that African American woman who just added, well, yeah, I think Democrats shouldn't be talking about this, but I think Warren, really raised the issue in a good way. Listen, I understand I have a penis. I understand women have never had a president in this country. I understand, I don't agree with it, but I even understand why some voters would support Warren over Bernie because they want a woman president. I don't agree with that, but I get it. I understand it. But there's a difference between having a conversation that you should have. I think it's fine to have a conversation which debunks like a woman being weaker against a man versus Trump. I think that's fine. But to have the conversation by thrusting a BS story of he said, she said, of most likely something Elizabeth Warren misinterpreted Bernie Sanders saying, to thrust the conversation in order to politically benefit yourself, to thrust the conversation by stabbing somebody who is still an ally to you, even when you left him at the altar in 2016 and didn't endorse him, who is still an ally to you, even though you have not been an ally to him. To thrust this conversation, which, again, it's fine to have the conversation, is really, really unethical. It shows who Elizabeth Warren is. And frankly, to me, Donald Trump was the best winner of last night. Donald Trump was the biggest winner last night, and I'll tell you why. Because with Elizabeth Warren going this low, with Elizabeth Warren shanking Bernie Sanders, that's what she did. What really happened was Joe Biden was allowed to skate again. I think Bernie was thrown off his game, and frankly, I think Bernie was hurt by what Elizabeth Warren did. And as a result, Joe Biden was able to continue lying, and lying some more. It's that simple. Sammy, €2. Jesus Christ, lower your mic again. All right, I just lowered it. I mean, that's the truth. Joe Biden was not challenged during that debate. He continued to lie about his support for the Iraq War, not just before, but after. And frankly, I think Bernie missed several opportunities to go at him. And who benefits from that? Donald Trump. Welcome, new member, Philip. We are now at 802. 802 Status Coup members. Keep it coming, baby. This is amazing. Keep signing up. statuscoup.com/join. Because Donald Trump, if Elizabeth Warren wants to literally sit on stage and have a discussion about, oh, Donald, we need to have a debate about whether a woman is weak or this and that. Are you kidding me? Donald Trump is going to eat you alive. Not because you're a woman, but because you're an idiot. Donald Trump is going to rampage Iowa, rampage New Hampshire, rampage Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, with Elizabeth Warren and Pocahontas and DNA tests. It's going to be ugly if she wins the nomination. It is going to be ugly if she becomes the nominee. And she's sitting here saying, well, I was offended by something Bernie Sanders said. A man who literally has time and time again said, I think a woman could be president. A man who has endorsed many female candidates, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, by the way. And you're sitting here crying on a debate stage? And you know what? To tell you the truth, the reason that I think this helps Donald Trump so much is because if Elizabeth Warren hadn't have done what she did, I think this would have been one of the highlights of the night. But I think Bernie Sanders was so thrown off his game that he missed his opportunity on this. Let's take a look at this moment, which to me is Biden's biggest weakness. I think it's the same exact reason he's going to lose because it's one of the major reasons Hillary Clinton lost. And Donald Trump is going to take advantage of it, and Joe Biden is going to have nothing to say.
Vice President Biden, Senator Sanders has said Donald Trump will, quote, eat your lunch for voting yes on what he calls terrible trade agreements. When it comes to trade, why are you the best candidate to take on President Trump?
There will be no trade agreement signed in my administration without environmentalists and labor at the table. And there will be no trade agreement until we invest more in American workers. We should be putting our money and our effort and our time in preparing American workers to compete in the 21st century on the high-tech side, dealing with all artificial intelligence. We should be focusing on equipping American workers to do that. And by the way, the idea, I don't know that there's any trade agreement that the senator would ever think made any sense, but the problem is that 95% of the customers are out there. So we better figure out how we begin to write the rules of the road, not China.
Senator Sanders.
Joe and I have a fundamental disagreement here, in case you haven't noticed. And that is NAFTA, PNTR with China, other trade agreements were written for one reason alone, and that is to increase the profits of large multinational corporations. And the end result of those two, just PNTR with China, Joe, and NAFTA, cost us some 4 million jobs as part of the race to the bottom. I am sick and tired and will not tolerate, and we will use the power of the federal contracting system. If a corporation in America wants to shut down in Iowa or Vermont or any place else, and then they think they're going to get online for a generous federal contract, they've got another thing going. We need some corporate responsibility here, and we need to protect good-paying jobs in America, not see them go to China, Mexico, Vietnam,
Mr.
and
Vice
other low-wage
President, what's
countries.
your response?
We need corporate responsibility, and I agree with that completely. But we also need to have enforcement mechanisms in the agreements we make, enforceable agreements. That's one of the things that has been improved with the trade agreement with Mexico, and that's what we should be doing in any agreement we have. But let's get back to the basics here. If we don't set the rules of the road by going out to our partners instead of poking our eye and poking our finger in the eye of all our friends and allies, we make up 25% of the world's economy. We got to bring the other 25% of our allies along with us to set the rules of the road so China cannot continue to abuse their power by stealing our intellectual property and doing all the other things using their corporate state system to our significant disadvantage.
Senator Warren.
So I'm not even going to get into Joe Biden's. That's not stuttering, folks. He's cognitively declining. I've been saying it for months. The corporate media doesn't want to admit it. I'll keep saying it. He's not all there up there. He's cognitively declining. The corporate media is ignoring it. And if he loses, it's in part because he's going to get eaten alive on that debate stage. He could barely finish a sentence. 600 people watching, 360 of you have pressed that like button. Please, please, please. If you haven't, press the like button. Would you be so kind? Press that thumbs up button. It's right under the video. The more people that press the thumbs up button, the more people that will see this live stream. So, first of all, Bernie, he's not going to be on the debate stage again before Iowa. Please lose from your vocabulary. Biden's a friend of mine. Warren's a friend of mine. We have a fundamental disagreement. And please start saying Joe Biden voted to send people in Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio's jobs to Mexico and China. Enough with the niceties, Bernie. If you want a friend, get a couple of dogs. If you want a friend, get a couple dogs. But what you have there, and I've seen very little coverage of it, Joe Biden is openly saying he's going to push the TPP if elected president. He didn't mention TPP. He didn't say the word. But what he was saying was we need to reach out to our partners all over the world. We need to set the rules for the road. If you were paying attention in 2016, him and Obama were actively trying to get Hillary Clinton to say she's for the TPP because they were still trying to ram it through. Joe Biden right there, he's telling you without saying it. He's telling you, if I'm elected president, we're going to do TPP. You think Donald Trump's people, Donald Trump has $200 million in the bank. You think they're not already taking from that clip and making ads preparing for Joe Biden? Great things he said about NAFTA. Him writing in Foreign Policy magazine, pushing TPP in 2016. I mean, he's going to get eaten alive just on TPP and NAFTA. Thank you, Kelly Elaine, $20. Every time I think I can't afford to send bucks, I think, where would I be without truth in broadcasting? Thanks, Jordan. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you, Kelly, and I always appreciate you are one of the Hall of Fame members of the Coup Cavalry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Reeve, $2. How bad is it? Ben Shapiro is supporting Bernie. That's when you know it's bad. When Ben Shapiro is defending Bernie Sanders, you know we are in the twilight zone. We're in the twilight zone. Larry the Truth, $2. Bernie 2020 or we literally die. World on fire. Well, we have an interview Marcus did with the Sunrise Movement that I'm about to play soon. So, yeah, we are on the verge of dying, especially if we get Donald Trump another 4 years. Will Shields, $5. Warren's hit wasn't stupidity or misinterpretation. It was a desperation because her campaign is tanking as people see that she is empty and has no spine. I completely agree with you. I've been saying that for days. So, I mean, and you know the most amazing thing about all of this? You know the most amazing thing about all of this is how empty and how hollow the whole thing is. Because the same warriors on Twitter right now, the same woke Hillary Clinton, I'll say it, Hillary Clinton, #MeToo people, and I think #MeToo is a good thing. But not when it's weaponized to attack the wrong people. They're going nuts about Elizabeth Warren claiming that Bernie Sanders said something. Nobody knows what was said in that private conversation. But Joe Biden literally, publicly said, well, Joe Biden tried to make the case to voters in Iowa on Thursday that he will be able to defeat Donald Trump in 2020, even though Hillary Clinton failed to do so in the last presidential election. Part of his pitch, he's a man. I mean, literally. The former vice president went through a list of reasons why he believed Clinton lost, including that people underestimated Trump. Clinton mishandled the response to the infamous Access Hollywood tape, and Trump effectively inflamed the controversy around her emails. He also said Clinton was the victim of unfair sexist attacks. But he added, that's not going to happen with me. Joe Biden publicly 2 weeks ago said, I have a penis, so there will be no problem. I have a penis, no issue. Hillary didn't, so you don't have to worry about that with me. I didn't see Elizabeth Warren say a word then. I didn't see CNN say a word. I didn't see any of these folks say a word. Franklin, I'm sorry I missed your super chat. Write it again, and I'll answer it. Sorry. Jen's not here today, so I'm doing everything at once. My bad. And not $2. Who do you think the New York Times will endorse on the 19th? Oh, my lovely girlfriend asking me the most obvious question in the world. Who do I think that the New York Times is going to endorse on the 19th? Joe Biden. Come on. Maybe the New York Times throws a curveball and endorses Elizabeth Warren because she matches the New York Times journalist and columnist sensibilities. I think it's going to be Joe Biden. We'll place a bet, my lovely girlfriend. But I don't want to talk about what we're going to bet on air. It might not be appropriate. It's going to be Biden. So let me get this straight. Joe Biden publicly says, I don't have a penis, so I won't lose. I have a penis, so I'm not going to lose. Hillary didn't, and she lost. The media barely says anything about it. Elizabeth Warren claims Bernie Sanders said something, and it is literally a disaster. Epic, epic story of epic, epic proportions. Are you kidding me? Franklin, again, sorry I missed your super chat. Feel free. Leave it again. I'll get it. Smary, $5 in the super chat. Biden just said he would pick Warren as his potential VP. Do you think she made a deal with the establishment to have this happen? It's very possible she did not make a deal with Biden, but did this as a wink wink to Biden. Hey, I'll help you win. You know, remember me later. Maybe not for vice president, maybe for Secretary of the Treasury. I think Warren would be just as happy with Secretary of the Treasury as she would vice president. Remember, she's just a player in the game. She's just a player in the game, according to her. And by the way, we got 630 people watching. 449 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get over 200 more of you to press the thumbs up button right under the video? So, what's amazing about all of this is Elizabeth Warren did this in desperation or because of a deal with Joe Biden, who knows. At the same time that Donald Trump is privately obsessing that he might lose to Bernie Sanders. This from the Daily Beast. In public, President Trump has fixated on mocking Bernie Sanders as crazy and is focused on assuring supporters of how badly he'd crush the left-wing senator in a general election and protect them from Sanders' creeping socialism. In private, Trump has often expressed different worries about the 2020 candidate. In the past 2 months, the president has repeatedly asked advisors in and out of the White House how Sanders polls or would likely perform in critical battleground states, specifically Pennsylvania, according to two people who independently heard him ask about it. At times, Trump has asked about Sanders' prospects even in the absence of a current public or internal poll on the matter. I mean, at Tuesday night's rally in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the president stuck to the crowd pleasers when it came to Bernie. Bernie is surging. Bernie is surging, he said. Trump's team has repeatedly declined to share their internal polling data with reporters and the public. Indeed, the president instructed his aides last year to tell reporters that his campaign's internal numbers didn't show him polling behind Biden in critical states, even though that same internal polling had him trailing Biden, then the clear Democratic frontrunner. So that's the Daily Beast. Then you have the New York Times, basically reporting the same thing. Most of the president's advisors see Mr. Sanders, if he were to become the nominee, as helping to solve Trump's problem with suburban voters in states like Virginia, where the 28 midterms election showed that moderate and independent voters have recoiled from the president's behavior. But some have concerns that Mr. Sanders might be more durable in the Rust Belt states, like Michigan and Wisconsin, with high concentrations of white working-class voters that emerged as trouble spots for the president in the 2018 midterms. The advisors say that in their voter research, Mr. Sanders registers with his own supporters as authentic, the same quality that Trump's base ascribed to the president in 2016. They view Sanders as a more difficult opponent than Warren, but less of a challenge than Biden, according to the New York Times. What's interesting here is Trump's people are not looking at polls. They think that running against Bernie Sanders is going to help them with independence. Bernie Sanders, currently a new poll out of Emerson, just showed Bernie Sanders is leading among independents and young people. He's leading Joe Biden among independents and young people. And leading Donald Trump among independents and young people. So they don't even know what they're talking about. And by the way, if you want to go with the theory that Warren made a deal with Biden, this might help that. Exclusive poll just came out from Vice and IPSOS. 56% of African Americans polled said they'd consider voting for Bernie in 2020. A statistical tie with the 54% who said the same about Biden. I thought Joe Biden had African Americans on lockdown as his firewall. Maybe not. So again, thank you, Will Shields, $2. The Donald doth protest too much, methinks. So to me, this is why Donald Trump was the winner last night. Because The opponent that Donald Trump wants to run against, the media keeps saying it's Bernie Sanders. I think it's Joe Biden. Donald Trump knows Joe Biden has the same vulnerabilities as Hillary Clinton, only worse because his record is a lot longer than Hillary Clinton's, and his record is a lot worse. Not that Hillary Clinton's wasn't bad, but Biden has a longer and worse record. Biden is also a bad campaigner, and honestly, if you don't think that Donald Trump, I'm not trying to go below the belt, but I know Donald Trump will. If you don't think Donald Trump is going to put ads on TV and all over the internet of Joe Biden sniffing young girls' hairs and talking about loving little children, rubbing his hairy legs, if you don't know that that's coming, then you're not paying attention. Donald Trump is going to just flood the airwaves with creepy, weird things that Joe Biden has done. I guarantee it. And you want to know why that's going to be so damaging? Because it's going to cancel out all the creepy, terrible things that Donald Trump has done, which Donald Trump's voters don't particularly care because they elected him after he said, I touch women in the genitals without their permission. They don't care. But Donald Trump's expert and really skilled ability is to muddy the waters. Well, how's he going to muddy the waters against Bernie Sanders? And you want to know something? This has gotten little attention. Look at what Donald Trump recently said. Look at what Donald Trump recently said at a rally. For decades, career politicians promised to defend the workers of Ohio, and then they went to Washington and voted for the same globalist policies that devastated your communities and shipped away your jobs, he told a crowd. The Democrat politicians we are fighting today are the same ones who took a sledgehammer to Ohio jobs and factories and destroyed your factories and destroyed your jobs. They are losing, and we are winning. How is Joe Biden going to defend himself against that? Again, the Democratic politicians, i.e. Joe Biden, we are fighting today, are the same ones who took a sledgehammer to Ohio jobs in factories and destroyed your factories and destroyed your jobs. They are losing, and we are winning. He cannot go after Bernie Sanders on trade because Bernie Sanders has been against every single toxic, corporate-written, destructive trade deal where Joe Biden has been for them. You see, the corporate media, because they are so intentionally out of touch, they are so disconnected from reality, they think that, again, Joe Biden is literally running the same campaign as Hillary Clinton. That campaign, Trump's the Antichrist. Trump is a hazard. He's a damage. He's a destructive force. He is a threat to our very democracy. Vote for me. What are you going to do for us? Trump's evil. What are you going to do for us? Trump's evil. What are you going to do for us? Trump's awful. Make America stronger together. Restore the soul of the country. What does it mean? Nothing. He's running the same exact campaign. What did Hillary Clinton said? Love Trump's hate. All this wokeness. Trump is going to wipe the floor. He's going to wipe the floor with Joe Biden on particularly the trade issue. Does anybody think, because I actually read the exit polls in Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, trade was one of the top issues that voters who voted for Trump said was their top issue. Trade. Do people think suddenly that 3-4 years later, suddenly trade is not going to matter to them? Trump is also going to be able to spin his NAFTA 2.0 as keeping his promises to Trump voters in the industrial Midwest. And by the way, the Democrats, if they nominate Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren, who just voted or said she's going to vote for this NAFTA 2.0, they're not going to have anyone to go against him because they are supporting this NAFTA 2.0. Bernie Sanders is the only one who's going to be able to say, I went against NAFTA 1.0, I went against TPP, I went against normal trade relations with China, and oh, by the way, I'm against this new NAFTA 2.0, which literally continues to light a match to the climate and to our planet and continues to offshore your jobs. Bernie Sanders is the only contrast to Donald Trump on trade. There's nobody else. Pete, not a contrast. Warren, she's voting for new NAFTA 2.0. Biden, NAFTA, TPP. Elizabeth Quiroga, 499. Since EW is out of the question for VP, what do you think the odds are of Nina Turner becoming vice president for Sanders? I've been saying all along that Nina is my first choice. To me, I don't want to get ahead of myself. He's got to win Iowa and New Hampshire. To me, and thank you for the super chat, by the way. To me, I think Bernie Sanders, it's possible. I think his top three will be Nina Turner, possibly Barbara Lee, possibly Tulsi Gabbard, and possibly Ro Khanna. That's who I think Bernie Sanders would consider as vice president. There might be more out there. To me, Nina Turner is the best choice. I do like Tulsi Gabbard. I have some issues with her, but I think she'd be a terrific Secretary of the Defense. But I don't think she would be better than Nina Turner for vice president. That's my true opinion. So, I told you why I think Trump won the debate, because Elizabeth Warren throwing this despicable innuendo. And by the way, do you think Elizabeth Warren didn't realize when she went up to Bernie Sanders, refused to shake his hand, and basically was like, I'm not a lip reader, but it looked like she was kind of yelling at him. You think she didn't do it intentionally, knowing the cameras were still on? This whole notion that she didn't want to talk about it, she wants to move on. She planted this. She mischaracterized it. She stabbed him in the front, and then after the fact, she goes up to him and basically thumbs in his face when he tries to shake her hand. Why? And by the way, Bernie Sanders shouldn't have tried to shake her hand. She knows exactly what she's doing. With that, I want to show you some more of our in-the-field reporting on the campaign trail. As far as I know, we are the only outlet. We're scratching, our money together. You are funding us. We're now at 802 Status Coup members. You are funding us to have Marcus out there. You are funding us, my recent trip to South Bend. You are funding us because I'll be going up to New Hampshire soon for at least a week or so. You are funding us. Marcus was recently at a rally in New Hampshire where Sunrise Movement activists endorsed Bernie Sanders. He was able to interview one of the founders of the Sunrise Movement. It's a super powerful interview. It didn't come up that much last night, and the moderators, which don't even get me started on these moderators, they might as well be Republicans. They were so right-wing in their questioning and their framing. When Bernie Sanders was trying to bring up climate change, they were like, no, we're talking about trade right now. Trade, climate should be the first thing we think about with trade deals. These moderators are so stupid that they don't realize that climate is connected with every single topic. The planet is on fire. Take a look at Marcus's great interview with one of the co-founders of the Sunrise Movement.
Marcus Ely here for Status Coup, and I am here with one of the founders. It's an honor and a pleasure. The founders of the Sunrise Movement with me, and you guys have come out, endorsed Senator Sanders. You guys are the biggest climate movement in the U.S. right now. That is a huge endorsement for y'all to come out for Senator Sanders. So what pushed y'all to do that?
So we ran a 6-week-long endorsement process last year, and over the course of a week, about 3,000 Sunrise Movement members voted, and they voted over 80% to support Bernie Sanders in his bid for president. And I think young people right now are excited about Bernie Sanders' record. He has been a consistent champion of climate action. I think we're excited that he understands the urgency and the swift need for decisive action to stop this crisis and embraced a Green New Deal as soon as he could and has made it a core pillar of his campaign. I think people are excited that his campaign isn't about him, it's about building a movement. It's right there in his campaign slogan, not me, us. And that's really important for me as a climate activist because I know this election is extremely important and whoever is the president of America is extremely important. And November 2020 is just the beginning of the fight to stop the climate crisis. We are going to need millions of bodies in the street. We are going to need millions of people voting and electing politicians like Bernie Sanders into office. And we're going to need to work in concert with politicians like Bernie, with millions of people, if we are going to have even a shot at averting climate catastrophe.
And I'm really glad that you framed it the way you did, and you're wearing a shirt that says Green New Deal. And when we think about the New Deal itself, the first thing that comes to mind for me is we had two communist parties and one socialist party, millions of people in the streets every day, basically pushing the president and getting him to a point. He met with the leaders of those movements. They basically said, either y'all give us half or you can have nothing. And the President Roosevelt goes and talks to basically the oligarchs of the country, same situation we have now, and tells them, hey, look, either you give them half or they're going to take everything. So you're going to give them half. And then you juxtapose that with what y'all are talking about doing, what you're calling for with folks in the streets. And then we have the language of the Green New Deal. How does it feel to, like, for you guys, the Sunrise Movement, and really the young generation being the next up in that American history, to say, hey, we're gonna fight for this, we're gonna be in the streets, look, American oligarchs, you're gonna have to come up off something, otherwise there's gonna be nothing. And it's not just you guys saying we're gonna take that from you, it's the climate on your side this time.
That's exactly right. And I think, we're not seeing this as like a single resolution in DC, right? This isn't a single bill or a piece of legislation. We are talking about the decade of the Green New Deal. And like the New Deal before it, we need to pass dozens of pieces of policy that address every single aspect of this crisis, whether it's agriculture, whether it's transportation, buildings, you name it, it's related to the climate crisis and it has to be in there. And so, can you imagine when you are trying to take away power and money from the most powerful industry in the history of the world, the fossil fuel industry, what they are going to come at us with? And that is why we need to build a movement of epic proportions. We need to be looking to our history, the millions of workers that striked during the New Deal. There was some days when there were 1,500 strikes that were taking place across the country. Or you go to the civil rights movement, where over 15,000 Black students in the South were arrested for fighting against racist Jim Crow laws and segregation. And so I think we need to understand what this historic moment calls upon us to do. And to me, we need to be starting a political revolution, which is a lot of the reason why we're endorsing Bernie Sanders for president.
So I really hate to end it on such a horrible note, but I know we're short on time, and I really want to ask this question. Every time, everything you mentioned, there has been a violent resistance up against every single stage of uh, revolution that the people have put up. When you talk about those strikes for the New Deal, you had the Pinkertons and the oligarchs literally paying people to beat their butts. You had civil rights movement, of course. You can think about all the water hoses, dogs, everything those folks went through, the anti-war 70s. Like, every time there's a revolution like this, there is a violent response from the oligarchy. Like, that's just what history tells us. What do you say to folks that think about that and say, look, what, you know what I mean, that they're scared, they don't want to come out there and deal with that, that's too much for them? What do you say to folks that feel that way?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to front. That's going to happen this time too. And I think we have to be real that it's going to take real risk and it's going to take real sacrifices. And also that it's worth it. That what we are fighting for is quite literally the future of human civilization as we know it. And so I would say, and it's, it's risk from violence and bodily harm, but like there's a lot of risk in just like putting your voice out and even saying what you think about something publicly, right? We're taught that that's bad. We're taught to have shame around that. And so I think what this movement and this moment calls upon all of us to do is to take risks, and risks are always easier done when you do them with somebody else. And so I think that's why movements are so important, is that in Sunrise, we're not asking you to take these risks, or we're not asking you to join a movement by yourself. This is a moment for you to join in community, to have people who have your back, who will stand shoulder to shoulder with you through this fight, and who at the end of the day are going to be with you no matter what.
You just watched Status Coup's In the Field coverage with me live on the ground from Iowa. We can't do this without your support, so make sure to like, share, subscribe, and become a member at statuscoup.com.
It was a great interview by Marcus. I will repost it tomorrow. Obviously, for some reason, I have a lot of buffering going on today. I don't know why. So I'm going to repost it tomorrow. That was one of the founders of the Sunrise Movement. Really important interview. And we're trying to do as much of that as possible in the field, on the campaign trail. And I'm also, Marcus is getting a new microphone. I believe today, hopefully today, because something's going on with his mic, with the volume. So we will be getting him a new microphone ASAP, funded by you. So, because of all the buffering, because of all of this, I'm going to end the live stream. It keeps buffering and this and that. Let me read a couple more super chats. Jaybird, $14.99. Trump will make mincemeat out of dotty old Biden. His leg hair might come in handy, though, because Trump will make a friggin' Swiffer out of that soulless neoliberal. By the way, you were so right about Liz. I try to be right. Larry the Truth, $10. Very simple. It's either do something or we all die, even the oligarchy. The police who fought the people would truly be pigs and will die when Mother Earth takes everything back. I agree. Rebecca, I would love to become a member, but I cannot use my credit card, but can pay by check. I would love to join Status Coup. Maybe I can mail a check. Rebecca, email us info@statuscoup.com. Info@statuscoup.com. We'll try to set something up with you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I should be back tomorrow. I'm moving temporarily, so I have to set up a new studio. But should be back tomorrow. I will be continuing to tweet. And remember, if you have not yet signed up, sign up for our email list. That's statuscoup.com. Statuscoup.com. Enter your email. You'll see a little pop-up for your email. Also, join our text list. Super, super important. All you got to do, text 474747, enter COUP. That's 474747, enter COUP, and you'll immediately be added to our text list. We don't text every time we're live, but we're starting to text a lot more, and it really, really helps us get around the suppression. Thank you for watching. Peace out.